You just noticed in the trailer they had that one shot of like her midriff as she was like tightening her shirt and something. I'm like, what the fuck? It's just to be like, hey. Welcome to the Cricket Table Podcast. This is Rob.
It's Freddy.
On this episode, we're going to do a recap of all the trailers that have been dropping. It's been raining trailers left and right in the last week or so. Plus, I figured, since last time we talked about the Captain America Civil War trailer, I don't want us to be accused of being pro-Marvel and anti-DC, so I was like, all right, we got to get in here and talk about Batman v Superman. Otherwise, it's like politics. We have to give equal time to both candidates.
Yes.
So to speak.
Yes.
So how, what's going on with you? Anything new?
Nothing much, Rob. Nothing much. Just watching the same stuff. I was actually getting involved in this show on Spike called Sweat Incorporated.
Okay, what's that about?
It's kind of like a Shark Tank, but with fitness products.
Okay, that's cool.
And you go in there. It starts off where they show off their fitness products, and then they eliminate one right off the bat after seeing the products and hearing, like what it's about and where they're specializing for. And then as it goes into the next round, they get like a test subject. So they get like a man and a female that are out of weight, out of shape.
Right.
And they do them, they train them with their product for like 30 days. And,
see the results.
See the results later. And then they after what their body fat reduction is and everything. It shows like which product's better, and also they do this open gym concept where people go and they'll like try each of their products for 15 minutes,
right? And
they'll switch it, So it's a cool show, but I think it's gonna get canceled because not a lot of people.
It's a very niche like subject matter, I would imagine.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Not a lot of people are grasping at it,
right
as I hope. It's a really fun show, but it's
well, I'm about halfway through with Jessica Jones. I'm stretching it out nice and long so I can savor every moment until
still talking
until we get there. But yeah, I'm like halfway through it. I'm about to start episode 6.
Can't talk about you with Jessica Jones.
No, we can't talk about it in detail, but
okay.
But that's pretty. I mean, TV wise, that's kind of all I've been watching.
Have you seen Ridiculous 6 yet?
No, I'm not planning on watching that. I don't like Adam Sandler. Really?
Yeah.
I can't remember the last good Adam Sandler movie I saw was probably The Wedding Singer. To be honest.
Yeah, you're probably not.
I mean, did you see Pixels?
I like. Yeah, Pixels was fun.
Some moments were fun. It was, but overall, it wasn't a good movie.
I mean, you're not.
Peter Dinklage made that movie.
Yeah, I know.
He was the best part there.
Yeah, but you have to look at these movies that like. They're not necessarily going to be like the best movies you've ever seen, but did you come out of the movie theater entertained? Yeah. Well, maybe not you, but
maybe not me. Well, I mean, there must be a market for it. Netflix must be seeing a lot of people watching whatever Adam Sandler movies they had streaming beforehand.
Yeah.
So because they signed him to that 4-movie deal, and this is the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're exclusive Netflix original movie type
deal.
So
people still watch his movies.
Apparently,
They might not be like the best of comedies, but they're still somewhat entertaining.
Right. I need to catch up on.
I like Blended. I might get a lot of heat for that, but
I didn't care for that either. I have reviews of both that and Pixels and
but I feel like that's one of his better movies of the ones of late.
I guess. I mean, I didn't see Jack and Jill and That's My Boy because I've heard how terrible they were, but I mean, I saw several of the other ones before that that were terrible.
Yeah.
So it's gotten to that point where I'm like, okay, not interested.
Yeah, you're passing that.
Basically.
Yeah.
I need to catch up on Beasts of No Nation. Which
is
the one
I want to do that too.
I started watching a few minutes yesterday, and then I got distracted with something else. But I need to watch that because that's getting like awards buzz. And
it's
such.
hard to get yourself in that mindset to watch.
Well, because that's going to be heavy, so you guys got to brace in to be like emotionally like wrecked for the rest of the day after that, pretty much.
Yeah, and most of the time I want to watch something that's going to entertain me,
right? So or a little, or at least not ruin your whole day and your mood for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, so I need to watch that because that was the first Netflix original.
And I was seeing a lot of trailers for The Big Short. What do you think about The Big Short?
I want to see that. I'm behind on a lot of the big Oscar buzz movies right now.
Yeah.
Just because I've been trying to catch up with some other work and things like that. And right now this week's all about Star Wars. Yeah. So, but after that, I mean, I'm really looking forward to checking out The Revenant and The Hateful Eight, Spotlight, and some of the other ones that are getting, because the Golden Globe and SAG Award nominations all came out.
In The Big Short, all of them, all the actors like Christian Bale, Brad Pitt,
Ryan Gosling,
they don't look like them at all.
Yeah.
They I don't know, they put like old person, like they all look weird. You know, they don't look like them.
Right.
Actors, yeah.
They don't look like these Hollywood sex symbols.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's different.
Yeah. Well, that's cool because that's like it's sort of a comedy / drama from what I've heard, but it's the first movie with dramatic elements in it from Adam McKay, the guy who did Anchorman and Step Brothers and the other guys.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested to see how he does with a little bit of a different genre for him.
Okay.
So anyway. So I guess we should delve right into. We have many different trailers to talk about. So let's just go first with Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, a lot of people are talking about this trailer gave away too much. Like they showed way too much, way too soon, and we didn't really need. Like it looks like it basically maps out the whole story. It's like Act 1, these people meet, and then they're like, I don't like you, blah blah blah. Act 2, they fight, and then Lex Luthor pitting them against each other. Building up to Act 3, where Lex Luthor, they probably come to some kind of peace with each other, and Lex Luthor's like, fine, and then, if man won't kill God, the devil will do it, and creates what looks to be Doomsday.
Yeah.
For the third act battle with the Trinity of the three heroes against him. So
it might be an X-Men United
type
situation where it's too much in one movie.
Yeah.
Because it seems like there's a lot going on. I also feel though that maybe they were just trying to throw a lot at us because Civil War came out and that was
we have to outdo it.
So they have to compete with Civil War trailer as well.
They're at a disadvantage though because Marvel's had 12 movies to establish all those characters. So when they show us Falcon, we know who that is. We don't have to be like, this is now all these people. It's, you know what I mean? Batman v Superman sort of jumping in and be like, oh yeah, here's Batman and here's Lex Luthor and here's Wonder Woman and here's Doomsday and we have confirmed at least cameos by Aquaman and the Flash.
Yeah.
So they're really sort of like piling it on, being like, here's all these people at once that you need to meet now for the first time. So I just hope the movie doesn't get really bogged down in introducing the character. Like, you know what I mean? Because we know Batman. We know who Batman is. You don't have to tell us what his backstory is and what Batman's all about. We get it.
Yeah.
Save the Wonder Woman backstory for the Wonder Woman movie, which I've heard is probably going to be set before Batman v Superman, which makes sense to sort of lead into her appearance here.
Yeah, and why she came there in the first place,
right?
Maybe
that's some of the rumors I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that.
Because I don't know, she might just come out of the blue.
Right.
And then, as it seems in the trailer, it looks like she just comes out of the blue.
She was with you.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're gonna have a scene where it's like quickly like, I have to go to Earth. They need me.
Yeah. I think she's just gonna. I don't think we're gonna see
cut to Earth where
the
she
mascara.
Goes
where she came from. I don't think we're gonna see any of that
in this movie. Time to
which
that.
I hope not. If they do, they're gonna ruin it because then they really would just be cutting from one thing to another.
Yeah.
But what was your general impression of the trailer? Like, are you more or less excited to see the movie? And do you think they showed too much? I guess
I'm excited. I'm more excited to see the movie because I know Wonder Woman has a larger role in it too.
Right.
And some of the action sequences were really cool.
Right.
I'm a little worried about it though because
taking on too much.
It looks like there's a lot that there's going on there.
Right.
But I don't know. If it's done well in the script, they can put a lot of stuff.
Depends how they handle it all.
It's difficult,
it is right now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I wish they hadn't really revealed Doomsday.
There's not going to be much backstory or anything, though.
Well, we hope. I mean, if there is, then it's really going to be sort of disjointed as hell.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they hadn't revealed Doomsday. I think that would have been a cool, like, and especially if that moment where she deflects the blast of whatever, because that scene also looks like it's cutting together a couple different scenes to create maximum effect for a trailer. So I'm sure there still are things that they're not showing us, but if that is Wonder Woman's like first appearance in costume, they spoiled what could have been like a cheer-worthy moment in theaters.
Yeah.
There. So what did you think about Lex Luthor? The Jesse Eisenberg goofy Lex Luthor.
I liked it. He goes over the top with it a little
Lex
bit.
Luthor's usually over the top in some
But
level.
yeah, it's just he's trying to play like a whimsical version of Lex Luthor.
Right.
So
I think he's trying to have that lightness that like Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor had, but still like I don't know, still hamming it up a little bit more. Do you think he's gonna become bald during the course of the movie, or do you think he's wearing a wig?
I think that he'll become bald during the course of the movie or next movie. I don't even know if he's going to be bald in this movie.
I've seen pictures, like promotional stills with him bald, so I'm assuming that sometime at least by the end of the film, he'll become bald.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I still feel like the best Lex Luthors have been on television. I still feel like Michael Rosenbaum in Smallville and John Shea on Lois and Clark still had the more interesting Lex Luthors.
Yeah. Well, it's because, like, television...
You have more time to develop them, I guess.
You have more time to develop in television. And in movie, you have to assume certain things. Right. I've already said this before.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I wish they would have saved Doomsday for, like, a Justice League movie or something. Or a Superman, a specific, like, Superman movie.
Well, I mean, he evolves over the course. Like, isn't his thing that he gets killed and then comes back, but stronger?
Yeah, I know, but...
So, I mean,
I don't know how that'll work in movies, though. Because you can't have the same villain over and over and over again. Most of the time.
Tell Marvel that. How many times are they going to put Loki and stuff?
Well, I know, but he never dies.
Okay. Well, does Doomsday?
Well, if Doomsday dies, he comes back stronger.
Right.
You know?
So, I mean, there's always the chance that they
Isn't Doomsday the one
here.
that kills Superman and everything?
Right.
That would be a good, like, story.
Some people have speculated that maybe they're going to have him show up here and they defeat him, air quotes, defeat him. And then he comes back, and then there you have your main villain for a Man of Steel sequel, like a proper Man of Steel sequel.
Yeah, exactly. But I normally what they do is they normally kill the bad guy, just because if he's going to be a bad guy in a sequel, it won't, and then it'll be like the same movie. You know what I mean? They want to differentiate each movie by having a different bad guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, we grew up with where that was always the case in superhero movies. It's like, you go see a Batman movie, you're like, okay, who's he fighting this time? All right, the Penguin and Catwoman? Well, I know they're going to be gone somehow or other by the end of this.
Yeah.
And then the next movie will be somebody different.
Yeah, unless they, like, do it where it's, like, a villain, like, teaming up or something.
Right.
But I don't think they'll do a villain all by himself all over again.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I don't know.
I mean, even the Dark Knight movies...
They could. If they made him, like, even, like, of course he's stronger once you kill him, so it might be a whole different thing. Right. So maybe. I don't know.
Well, that might be where they go with it. I really like Ben Affleck's Batman, though, and I've been saying that for the longest time when the internet exploded and people were like, what the hell? No.
But I guess that's the only way.
Pulling in Darth Vader. No. I've been an Affleck defender for the longest time, and I think he's gonna nail it.
Yeah, I don't understand why people have such beef with
Ben pretty Affleck. Much because
of a couple movies that he did wrong.
I didn't even think Daredevil was that bad. Like, I mean, it's not the greatest movie. The director's cut is admittedly much better than the theatrical version.
Yeah.
But I didn't think Affleck was what ruined that movie. And, you know, of course, now I think Charlie Cox is a better Daredevil. But again, it's like you said, we had 13 hours to hang out with him and only 2 hours to hang out with Affleck's version. So
yeah. Yeah. I think, though, for the movie, the Superman movie, that it needs like a big bad guy though.
Yeah, also. We have to.
Because Superman and Batman need to find a common difference, like a common goal. Mm-hmm. You know, they're like, okay, we both want to try and stop bad guys. Maybe we shouldn't fight each other and instead team up together.
They'll realize that Lex Luthor's pitting them against each other at some point throughout the movie, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and then also, you know, he already has like they show like Robin. It looks like it's Robin's
It looks like it was
costume
Robin's
that
suit,
the
so-
Joker killed or something.
Right.
Do you think Jared Leto's gonna be in this or?
I don't think he's gonna be in this. I think they're gonna allude to him, but I don't think we're really gonna see him until Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they do need somebody to team up against.
That would be cool if they did like a flashback or something.
I've heard that we might see something with that.
Jared Leto.
That's a possibility. It hasn't been confirmed at this point, but I mean, they're really setting the stage for them to do a Red Hood story in the Batman solo movie that's been rumored.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you know your comic books, the death of the Jason Todd Robin ties directly into the Red Hood storyline.
Yeah.
With the Joker and all that.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that animated film that they did, Under the Red Hood?
No.
I saw that recently. That was actually really good. But I mean, it's true. They do need someone to team up against. I mean, and the title is Dawn of Justice, so clearly it's a precursor to the Justice League movie in a lot of ways. And I'd rather have them team up against someone like Doomsday than like Lex Luthor in a metal suit, like his mech suit that he does in the comics and the cartoons and stuff. I mean, I feel like that would look goofy as hell.
Yeah,
in a movie.
That's true.
So a lot of people saying that Doomsday looks like the Abomination, but it's like, well, I mean, there's only so many ways to create a CG creature, and like like we said, I'm sure he's going to evolve.
It looks like one of those trolls from Lord of the Rings.
That's the other one, yeah. That's the other one I've heard, and the Ninja Turtles
or
from the
Harry
ones.
Potter, the troll from Harry Potter too.
They all have trolls.
Yeah.
All right. So
he's
anything
like
else?
a combination of a troll and the other one.
It's a troll hybrid.
Yeah, it's a troll hybrid.
So one of the things that I've seen that some people have compared his look to is actually the Ninja Turtles in the last year's movie, which is a nice segue into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, which also had a trailer drop. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Every day I've been turning on the internet or going on Twitter and they're like, oh, new trailer for them. I'm like, what the hell? Since when? I didn't even know that was coming.
Yeah.
So what did you... I know people can famously listen to our podcast. I believe it's the Fandom Menace to hear us discuss last year's Ninja Turtles. And I know you were not the biggest fan of that.
No, I didn't like it.
And I was
primarily because of Megan Fox.
I was sort of a guilty pleasure defender, being like, "Well, it's not that bad. I like these characters. Leave it alone." So what did you think about the trailer for the sequel?
TMNT better than that.
Oh well, I mean, if we're being honest, yeah. I mean, it's a better movie, but I like the new one better. I think than I don't know. I'm mixed on it. None of them are as good as the original one from 1990.
Oh no.
At least not yet. So we'll see. Maybe.
But this one, it looks more entertaining and more fun, and it looks like we have less Megan Fox,
right?
Which also is always good.
Well, I mean, I don't want, but that's the thing. I don't care who you have playing April O'Neil. It's not supposed to be about April O'Neil. Yeah. It's supposed to be about the Turtles. It's not called April O'Neil. It's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
So she's supposed to be second string to their story. And it looks like in the course of the movie that seems to be the case more now.
Yeah, and I like that we get Casey as well. So
Casey Jones coming back finally.
So that'll be nice.
Plus, let's not bury the lead. Bebop and Rocksteady. People have been waiting for forever. Their first live action appearance.
Yeah.
They were actually supposed to be in the first Ninja Turtles too, but I guess there was some internal disagreement about that, or copyright related or something, and so they were replaced with Toka and Raza. If you remember from Ninja Turtles 2, they had that giant mutated wolf and then a snapping turtle or something.
Yeah.
Though that was initially supposed to be Bebop and Rocksteady. So now we're getting them here finally. They're getting their time in the spotlight. So how do you feel about that? I mean, you didn't grow up with the series, the original cartoon, the way that I did.
No.
But you're familiar enough with it. You were like,
cartoon.
Hey, it's Bebop and Rocksteady. I was like,
yeah, I still watched the cartoon. But
yeah.
I didn't. I not like you did.
Yeah, you didn't have all the toys like I did. I had the Technodrome and all that shit.
Yeah. No, I liked it. I thought they would look a lot weirder, but it ended up being not too.
The thing that I like about this movie is that they're keeping a little bit of the darkness and the edge and the edginess from the earlier films, but it feels a lot more cartoony to me.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, when you're working with the premise of, these turtles, that got mutated, and now they're giant turtles that do ninja moves and run around New York City. It's gonna feel cartoony anyway.
And have Bebop and Rocksteady.
Right. So now they fight giant warthog and a giant rhino. I mean, the whole thing is sort of ridiculous.
Yeah. So it has to have sort of like a light comedy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Feel to it as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like they nailed that tone thus far in what I've based on the trailer at least. In that they have the turtle van, they have Casey Jones. They're bringing all these classic elements from the animated series to make it a much more well-rounded popcorn flick that's essentially a live-action cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
it doesn't have to feel grounded. They could look like CG creatures because they're not. There's no way to ground it. It's the whole concept is so ridiculous already.
Yeah, it feels like it's a lot. It feels like it's going to be a lot more like entertaining.
Yeah, more fun and less dry like the first one was.
The first one.
And it seems like they have a distinct vision with this one, whereas the last one they were like, we're going to tell this story, but then there was a lot of production issues that the things got rewritten and re-edited and reshot and all that. It seems like they know what they're doing here, and they're setting out to get it right from the beginning. Tyler Perry is also. I don't know if you saw him in the trailer.
Yeah, he looked like a mad Neil deGrasse Tyson.
A little bit. He's playing Baxter Stockman, who in the original cartoon and some versions of the story is the guy that becomes that like fly creature.
Oh, okay.
So based on the fact that they put him in here, and the other new characters they're adding, as well as like there's one part where there's things falling out of the sky. I don't know if they're like ships or something. It looks like they're leading us right into Dimension X, which is in the cartoon, which was that alien, the brain creature Krang. There was like this alternate dimension thing going on. So it looks like they're leading into that. If not during this movie, then definitely the third one.
Yeah,
which is really cool, and they're
maybe like the end of this movie, and they'll set it
lean
up
into
for the third one,
like a mid-credit scene with Krang or something.
Yeah.
So that would be cool because that's really what fans want to see. It's like embrace the ridiculousness of this mythos that you have all these comic book and animated series and the history that the franchise has, and bring that to life rather than be like, oh, and they're here, and then I guess we should create a bad guy for them. It was like, why? You have so much to draw upon. I don't understand.
Yeah, because the people that are going to be watching it are either people like you that have, they've watched the cartoons, they got the toys.
Yeah.
They grew up with this stuff for a nostalgic reason.
Right.
Or the little kids that
are watching it
now,
show,
and they're going to embrace it anyways because it's goofy and funny.
Exactly.
And it has a little bit of action and they watch also the ones that are on Cartoon Now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
So those are the main audiences, and if you embrace it and you cater to those two categories, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, and it seems like they're getting a little bit of the best of both worlds here.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It sounds like you're cautiously optimistic about it, which is
a little. I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
Cool. There you go.
I'll give a second chance just because it does look very entertaining.
Right.
And it looks funny. And they have their mobile thing. What is it called? I don't know.
The turtle van?
Yeah, turtle van.
Yeah.
And that looks fucking awesome.
It seems interesting too because by the title of the film, Out of the Shadows, it sounds like they're gonna actually be sort of known figures in New York.
Yeah. Well, there's a moment
scene in there with Laura Linney.
Where the news reporter was saying like, "Who are you?" And they were like, "Oh,
superheroes.
We're superheroes." Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's cool. So going from Mutant Turtles to Mutant X-Men, what did you think of X-Men Apocalypse trailer?
I like it. I'm not as excited for it, of course, than Superman vs. Batman and Civil War. I'm also very excited for it though.
But you were a fan. You're a fan of the franchise, obviously, and you like Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that they are gonna have like Nightcrawler and Storm.
Yeah, they're bringing pretty much a lot of the characters back, and it seems like this movie is really sort of serving as a bridge between the first class Days of Future Past cast and then the classic characters from the original, like Cyclops, Storm, and Jean Grey.
Is Wolverine gonna be in it though?
I heard that he was supposed to. I mean, the way Days of Future Past ended, it's like, how do you not have some kind of follow-up to that?
Yeah, because they pulled him out.
Well, yeah, they pulled him out of the water, and we thought it was Stryker. It turned out to be Mystique, so now we're like, well, where did he go? Yeah. Does he end up getting his metal claws? I mean, how did that work? So, I mean, I would think we would need some kind of payoff to that, either in this movie or in like the final Wolverine movie.
But did he say that he doesn't want to do too many of the X-Men movies?
He wants to. He's pretty much wrapping up his run as Wolverine with the third Wolverine movie that's coming out 2017. I would assume he would be in this movie at least a little bit, maybe a couple scenes or something, just to give us a clue of what happened to him after that. But it doesn't look like he's going to be a major focus like he was in Days of Future Past.
Okay.
Which is good because, I mean, they have so much going on here already. It's
not about Wolverine. It's about the younger generation of, like it's about the past where it's like young Professor X and young Magneto and Mystique and all this.
Well, and from what I've heard, this is designed to be the third in that, like the third and final part of that trilogy that started with First Class, where it's really focused on James McAvoy's Professor X and Michael Fassbender's Magneto and Jennifer Lawrence Mystique and Nicholas Holt's Beast, and those have sort of been like the main four of this trilogy. It's going to be interesting because now it looks like Magneto is one of the four horsemen, so that'll again pit them against each other, even sort of against his will. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about Apocalypse. He does look somewhat goofy. When a picture came out, initially people were talking about he looked like Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie.
Yeah,
I could sort of see that, and he looks a little better in this trailer, but you don't really get that much of a good look of him. And the only like straight on look you get of him is like from beneath, where you could basically see like his neck and his jawline really, and not really get a full like right in his face kind of focus close up.
One of the things that I have a question about is with Wolverine, when at the end of Days of Future Past, he goes and everyone's alive and Jean Grey's alive and all this stuff. Right. But does the Wolverine that's in the past, he doesn't have memory?
No, I don't think he does.
So it's old Wolverine, you know what I mean? Yeah. So he's not going to know who Mystique is. He's not going to know who any of them are because he reverted back to his original self. So technically he might not even be really in the movie. They might just save his life and then he'll be like, who the hell are you? And then run away, you know what I mean?
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that's what they're going to maybe do with it. So it's like, okay, he's there, but he's not going to be, Right. I think they're trying to be a part of this story right now. They're
trying to sort of connect all of them so that X-Men Apocalypse could conceivably lead into sort of that original X-Men movie. You know what I mean? Because clearly at the end of Days of Future Past, some of that stuff still happened because they all still knew each other. They were all still at the mansion. It's just, I think basically they just wanted to erase the Last Stand, which I understand. But yeah, it's interesting because after this movie, I'm not sure where they're going to take it next. If they're going to really focus on now, the young Jean Grey, young Storm, young Cyclops, young, Nightcrawler, and like that crew of X-Men, and then take them on further adventures, or if they're going to jump back to the future and have, the original cast try and come back, or if they're going to do an X-Force movie. They've been talking about a million different things. So there's a lot of different ways that this can go. But I'm glad that Rose Byrne's back. Yeah. In any case, I missed her in Days of Future Past, and I have a little bit of a Rose Byrne crush. So anytime she shows up in anything, that works for me.
Yeah, they didn't want to maybe put too many characters.
Well, Days of Future Past, you had two versions of most of the characters too.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be interesting to see how Quicksilver plays into it all now, because I know we're getting another big Quicksilver sequence. But I think he's, from what I've heard, he's going to be hunting to find his father, like, because Magneto's missing and stuff. So I think he's going to know that that's his father at some time between the two movies. Okay. But we'll see. I'm interested, of course, because I love the X-Men franchise, but I need to see a little more to really get like super hyped about it. I'm sort of like, okay, I'm into this, I guess. Yeah. But it's still, some of the effects are a little weird, and there's so many new characters. New versions of characters being brought in that I'm sort of kind of, awaiting a little bit more information before I get my expectations too high.
You're a little hesitant about it.
A little bit. I'm sure it's going to be good because it's Bryan Singer and he hasn't made a shitty X-Men movie ever. Yeah. So, but it also could be that some of the effects aren't finished and some of that kind of thing. So, We'll see. I like that they're not giving away too much about the story. They're not telling you everything that's going on.
They just show like glimpses of who's going to be in it.
Yeah, who are the four horsemen and that kind of thing. They tell you. They more or less tell you that. But I like all the religious symbolism and connections with Apocalypse, where it's like, oh, for four horsemen of the Apocalypse, and then Havoc is like, oh, he got that one from the Bible, and she's like, oh, the Bible got it from him, and like how they're setting up all this history of mutant kind and Apocalypse being the first one, and that's really cool. So that's exciting to see. So anyway, going from that little, what did you hadn't even seen the Independence Day Resurgence trailer until I showed it to you right before we started recording. So what did you were still a little when that first one came out. So are you excited about this, or are you just kind of like whatever?
Yeah, I'm excited because they got some of the people from the first movie. They got Jeff Goldblum and they got like 3 or 4 other people.
That's Jeff Goldblum, Bill Pullman, Judd Hirsch, Vivica Fox, and then I think they have the grown-up versions of the little kids played by Ross Bagley and Mae Whitman, the president's daughter and Will Smith's son. Yeah. But different actors now, which I didn't think is stupid. I don't know why you couldn't just bring those people back. Mae Whitman's still working, so that's kind of silly. But I mean, it looks interesting. It's more of a teaser kind of in a way than anything. Yeah. Because I really sort of still don't know who most of the other people are. Liam Hemsworth is in it, but I don't know why I should care about him. Yeah. I'm sort of lukewarm on Liam Hemsworth in general.
They're probably just trying to have a younger generation to bring into the independence movies. Well,
that seems to be the big thing.
They have that. There's also a black guy.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be the grown-up version of Will's son from the first one.
So maybe that's what they're trying to do. Same thing like in Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It seems to be the new thing with franchises is that they're, instead of just rebooting it, they're just being like, all right, well let's acknowledge that happened, and now pick it up in quasi real time. Be like, all right, where are we now?
Younger generation.
Yeah, they're doing that with Creed now too. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. So I think that's a stronger way to keep franchises alive. I mean, nobody wants to see the same things constantly remade and rebooted over and over and over again. So why not just continue that world and be like, like in Jurassic World. Like, I love that part where Jake Johnson's sitting there and he's wearing the shirt from Jurassic Park. Yeah. And she's like, don't you think that's in poor taste? He's like, oh, but that first park was legit. And I was like, that's awesome. Yeah, because he's so obviously being like, we all love that first movie, but this is something
Jeff
different.
Goldblum's book there,
too, that was great.
You could tell like where he's coming from, though.
He's essentially
because he reads Jeff Goldblum's book. Right. It fits with his whole character. Right. That like the things that he says is kind of like in keeping with what Jeff Goldblum's character had said. Yeah. So
and he's the Jurassic Park fanboy, like as if one of us jumped into the movie and was like, yeah, but that first one was awesome. Yeah. And I think that kind of thing is cool, that you just you acknowledge that history and then you just move on and start a whole new chapter set in that world. Yeah, exactly. So it seems like Independence Day is trying to do that, and bringing back. I feel like everybody's making a big stink about the fact that Will Smith is not in it. But I mean, because he turned it down. Essentially, he's made so many sequels to other things. I think he's just like, I don't know if I really need to revisit that.
Yeah, he wants to. He wants to go into new territory now.
Which makes sense because I've heard his Deadshot is going to also be in the next solo Batman movie. So I mean, he's already kind of got like an ongoing franchise thing now, something else. Yeah. So I understand why he wouldn't be like, I don't know if I really need to go back to that role I played 20 years ago. It's like that was sort of a one-off. I think it's way more important to the storyline and to the whole legacy part of it, like we were saying, that you have Jeff Goldblum and Bill Pullman back. I mean, I feel like they were more integral. Will Smith was a fighter pilot who happened to get involved in it because he was working with the military at the time.
You'd just say like he was the comedic relief.
Sort of, yeah. Jeff Goldblum was the guy that discovered the alien signal, and Bill Pullman was the president that was face to face with the aliens. Remember, he was like, "What do you want? And what do you want us to do?" And he's like, "Die." And I'm pretty sure that's gonna have some connection to the why in this movie he's like having dreams and visions and stuff. So he was mentally connected to that alien for a second. So it probably scrambled something in his head a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
And the way they did the trailer with that iconic speech intercut over the footage was really powerful. So I'm excited to see that. I wonder if it could really live up to that first one, because I mean, not to say that first one's the best movie ever, but that made a huge impact when it first came out. That was the kind of movie that people that didn't go see movies were like, "Oh my God, did you see Independence Day?" I'm like, yeah, who hasn't seen Independence Day?
Yeah.
It was that big a deal when it came out. And I don't think this movie's going to be that big a deal, because we see landmarks blowing up and crazy shit happening every week now in movie theaters.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it taps into that nostalgia in just the right way, we'll see. I mean, I think they're planning for this to be sort of a relaunch of the franchise and lead to a third and possibly fourth film. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see it though. So, Star Trek.
Star Trek, yes.
So as we know, everybody's gearing up for Star Wars with J.J. Abrams behind the camera. Which he essentially turned down Star Trek, I guess, to focus on Star Wars. So what is, I know you liked Into Darkness, I believe, too, right?
Yeah, I did.
I know some of the hardcore Star Trek fans aren't the hugest supporters of these more recent films, because they sort of stripped a lot of the science out of it, and they made it much more adventure films, and much more like Star Wars, hence the J.J. Abrams connection and stuff.
Yeah.
But I actually like that better. I've never been the biggest Star Trek fan.
Yeah, I like the current Star Trek films more than the other ones. They're a lot more interesting, and the whole action adventure thing, like you said, it's a good thing for the Star Trek series.
They seem so like lifeless. Some of the older movies. Granted, I've seen Wrath of Khan, which is widely heralded as like the best one, and I did enjoy that. But I mean, for today's audience, you have to have a little more energy to it. Not necessarily has to have to be spectacle and explosions and Beastie Boys on the soundtrack like in the trailer and that kind of thing. But you have to bring a little more something to it in order to stay competitive with the market.
Yeah, exactly. I thought they were trying to do like piggyback on Guardians of the Galaxy with the music. Yeah, so I've heard that some people also think that. I think that's definitely possible. Because they're like, oh, that's our biggest competitor, right now, so let's let's have music to make it seem like cool and get people in or whatever. And I was like, oh, come on, that's their thing. You know what I mean? That's interesting that you say that, because I just read something like a couple of days ago when the trailer dropped about how it's theorizing that is exactly what they were doing. Yeah. I like the Star Trek trailer, but it went too fast. I had no idea what was going on. I have no idea what the story is. It's just there was like flashes, and then people would say stuff. Are they stranded on more flashes? They're stranded on a distant planet or something, because they're like, we have no crew, we have no ship. It's one of those things. What are you getting beamed onto? I don't understand what's happening. It's one of those things where I actually miss the guy that tells you what's going on in a world where they're stranded in an island. You're like, oh, okay, nowhere to go. Like I almost missed that guy, because I was like, oh, what's going on here? Stranded on an island. Oh, okay, I got it. Thank you, narrator guy. Yeah. Nowhere to go. And I think that searching for help, and help finds its way, or something like that. I don't know. But it was like, okay, I guess this woman is coming here. This alien woman is helping them somehow, I guess, and they're becoming friends. Yeah, they weren't really highlighting the plot. They were just like, look, action, funny joke, action, another funny joke. Zoe Saldana screaming at camera. Yeah, she's upset about something. Want to know what? Check it next year in theaters, y'all. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Star Trek's never been my thing, but I do, like you said, I do enjoy the more recent ones. So, of course, I'll see it. I mean, it's not anywhere near the top of my most anticipated list. It's more like, oh yeah, Star Trek's coming out. Cool, I'll go see that. Yeah. Not like, oh my god, when is it? That's how I've been feeling about Star Wars, and how I feel about Batman, Superman, and Civil War, and probably Ninja Turtles more so than Star Trek, honestly. And most people. Yeah. But I mean, it does look it does look a little more frenetic, which I think is what they were hoping for, because they got the guy that did Fast and Furious, Fast 5, Fast and 6, and it's a very different movie. Yeah. Than what he normally does. It is, but he seems like he's trying to bring that same fast pace, and that same it's all about family, that same kind of thing to it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I did like the joke where Bones is, at least I'm not gonna die alone.
Yeah,
and then Spock gets beamed away.
That was my favorite part of the.
That was funny.
That was my favorite part of the whole thing.
They have a great cast. It's just, I know some people.
The characters are good too. I like the characters.
Yeah.
It's just the story or the editing or whatever with this trailer. It was like, it was killing me. I was like, what's
when
going on?
does it even come out? Like, it's sometime in the summer, July or something, I think.
I have no idea.
So I'm sure we'll get another trailer between now and then.
Okay.
And then that you got like a very quick glimpse of the villain under like a shit ton of prosthetic. It's supposed to be Idris Elba, I believe. I don't know. I feel like they should have made this movie about the Klingon War, because the second movie, Star Trek Into Darkness, remember they have that part where they're stranded and they're interacting with Klingons because Uhura speaks that language or whatever, and sort of hinting at like that there was a battle was coming with the Klingons.
Yeah.
I felt like that there you go. That was your
gimme. Yeah.
That should have been like, there you go. There's a third movie. Well, why are we not doing that?
Yeah. Maybe that's what it's about.
Maybe. But the way that the second one ended
I wouldn't know.
The way the second one ended was them like going off on their voyage and exploring distant planets and that kind of thing. So I think that maybe they're trying to sort of have this be, this random mission, they're wandering around and shit happens and now they have to figure it out and then move on to another mission, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, not super knowledgeable about Star Trek lore or anything, so I'll just go in and just expect it to be fun, and then, and sort of take it from there. I'm not going to be one of the, but that doesn't, but in Star Trek 4, Kirk said blah 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 blah, and that doesn't fit with this. It's like, that's not my, I don't have that knowledge to draw upon. Yeah, and frankly, I don't really care about it that much.
I don't think they're trying to go off of the show so much. I think they're trying to do their own thing with it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they're trying to use
it's already alternate timeline, so it's...
Yeah, I think they're trying to use, like, the same, like, characters, mythology, and everything.
The same character dynamics and everything, pretty much.
But they don't want to do the exact same thing as the show, because it's different.
Right. Or the previous movies.
Yeah.
Because that was another big complaint of Into Darkness. A lot of people were like, okay, so this is just basically The Wrath of Khan, but like a little different. So we'll see. I'm excited to see it, though. So, lastly, Fantastic Beasts and Where Does It? See what I mean? These all came out in the last week, pretty much. I don't know. All these huge movies for next year, they're just like dropping. I think because a few of these probably are going to be attached to the beginning of Star Wars, and so they're like, I think they leaked. And the studio's just like, all right, might as well put it out now because it's already out there in a shitty quality, so let's put it out officially. That's probably what happened with half of them. But so Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, of course, is for people, not say of course, but for people who don't know, is the spin-off of the Harry Potter franchise focusing on Newt Scamander. I guess I'm saying that right. The author of the textbook on which the film was based. I think 70 years or so before Harry Potter ever went to Hogwarts or any of that. So it's set largely, it seems like it's set largely in America from what I've heard, that we're going to actually meet like American wizards and their school and that kind of thing. So that's cool because, it from what I've heard, it really, this movie is going to be closest in tone to Goblet of Fire as far as, the storytelling and the elements that are involved, which I take as a great sign because I think Goblet of Fire is probably one of the best of the movies. And it's also the one that introduced us to different wizards from different nations and different, all these different creatures, because that was the one where they brought in, all the dragons for the first task, and Bo-Katan and I'm blanking, Durmstrang.
Yeah.
The different schools, that kind of thing. So it gave you more of an international feel for it rather than, all right, so let's focus on this one school in Great Britain and all the kids that go there,
Yeah.
So it seems like it's going to have more of a globe-trotting adventure type tone to it. And it's set in the 1920s, I believe, with Oscar winner Eddie Redmayne at the center of it. So, there wasn't a whole lot of footage to go off of, but you're a huge Harry Potter fan.
I was going to say, you definitely did your research because I didn't see any of that shit from
this
I
know, but I follow this. This is my thing, man. This is what I follow.
It was obviously a teaser trailer.
Right. Well, it was more of an announcement than anything. We're like, hey, this is happening, in case you're like Rob and you know about this.
Yeah.
So, you being a huge Harry Potter fan, what are your thoughts on, I guess, what they showed and then the new film? What are you hoping to see?
I think it's interesting. I would like to see like some ties to the original Harry Potter movie.
I'm sure you'll see some of the same creatures, like
some of the same creatures, kind of or maybe like going to the same places, or I don't know if Dumbledore maybe would be.
But you don't want it to have too many ties.
Yeah, well, I know, but
then it's this guy and young Dumbledore chasing him around.
Yeah, I know, but you want it to be like, oh, okay, it's the same world, then,
right?
You know,
right.
Besides saying it in the trailer, you want to have a sense that it's like in the same world as Harry Potter. You know, so that's pretty much all.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to go with. To go off of based on the trailer.
He opened up the box for like 5 seconds and Beast came out.
I don't know if I don't. Maybe I don't know. I was unclear on if he was the one that opened it. If he was the one, I'm
assuming. Are they like spirit beasts?
I don't know. That was weird, right? I didn't understand how that works. It's magic, so they're contained in a magic box. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe it's like it's like mythology and it's Pandora's box, and he opened it, and oh my god, creatures everywhere. Because clearly something like wrecked the side of that one wall. They're like, oh, some escaped, and there's like a whole like this brick wall in the building that was just smashed open.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and I'm sure that some of those creatures, some of those fantastic beasts, if you will be ones that we've seen before in the other films. But I mean, it's supposed to be the beginning of a trilogy, so I'm definitely interested to see where they're going to take it next. Where they're going to go with that. Yeah, I think that's like 11 months away. That doesn't come out until Thanksgiving, I think, next year.
Okay, so we have time for
trailer. There'll be a few trailers, I'm sure, between now and then. That's the craziness. A lot of good movies coming out next year. We're super, super pumped about it. Any final thoughts from you on which of these are you most excited to see? I think I know the answer to that, but...
Yeah, Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah. I think that's also one because, we're big comic book fans in general about Batman and Superman. And the fact that I think we're kind of curious to see how DC is going to rise to the challenge, considering, with Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of rocking the shit for like the better part of a decade at this point. Plus the fact that this is the second trailer we've gotten, and that's only like a couple months away, really, at this point. I think late March we're looking at. So yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that. Although, I mean, let's break it down. I'm gonna be seeing all of these next year.
Oh yeah, of course.
So, the listeners, if you want to send us a tweet, let me know what you think of all these new trailers that just came out. Which one are you most excited to see? Send me your feedback at Crooked Table.
And at Freddy with a Y _ Yaniz, YANIZ.
You can also read all our articles at crookedtable.com. We're actually going to have a podcast episode coming up in a couple of days, sort of a pre-discussion on Star Wars and then a follow-up review afterwards. So so be on the lookout for that, and we'll catch you guys next time. Roll credits.
This has been a production of crookedtable.com. All rights reserved.
CROOKED.